is just going to blow the audience's mind. It's been blowing our minds every day.
It is truly unique.
And I know the fans will love it.
Aren't these just buzzwords that dumb people use to sound important? Not that I'm accusing you of anything like that. I'm fired, aren't I?
Oh, yes.
It's times like these that I'm just glad we got to watch the old movies of the past. And by old, I mean from the early 2000s, which feel like a lifetime away at this point, but man, oh man, were they something that actually felt special and different in a good way. Like the movie Spider-Man 3, the first and only time to date that I've actually enjoyed getting to see the anti-hero character of Venom being played. Because when you see what they've done to him nowadays, it's like that scene from The Godfather with Don Corleone just reminiscing about how dirty his enemies have done his poor boy. Venom The Last The Last Dance is easily one of the worst films I've seen this year. It feels so bafflingly strange to me how this film was put together. Like, genuinely baffling. The plot of this movie has so much more potential, and I hate to say that because I always feel like that is the case with big budget superhero movies like this, and which is pretty much what I've always felt with Tom Hardy's Venom franchise in general. Like, on the surface, this movie has the potential to expand the lore of the symbiotes and the villains of this crazy alien world and universe, and to maybe even give us some genuinely interesting showdowns with final bosses, or at least a setup for a future dynasty. Moreover, the heart of this movie also has the potential to be that one last emotional hurrah for Tom Hardy and this rendition of Venom. It could have been fun while also being incredibly bittersweet, but far out, they stunk it up on both ends. The weirdest part about this whole movie comes down to some of the storyline choices, dialogue exchanges, and overall pacing/editing, which to me ruins all these interesting potentially good aspects for the film. There are just way too many scenes that come across being completely awkward or unnecessary, and I just sometimes shake my head at what is happening on the screen. And I'll go into spoiler talk now, so please be warned. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. We open up on a sort of strong, no-fuss introduction to an unknown villain who seems to be the Thanos of this universe. I was kind of surprised to see it starting so quickly without any opening logos from studios, but hey, that was awesome. It's a refreshing mix-up. It gets things going pretty quickly, which is always nice to me. And then it changes into a weird song edit towards this South American vibe because we're watching Eddie Brock being stuck in some bar in Mexico, except it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just sort of this whole scene that becomes about him deciding to go to New York City to blackmail the mayor or congressman in order to help free himself as a fugitive, but this whole dialogue exposition to himself is just so off and awkward, and it sounds completely dumb. Like, I just don't get this plan or where it came from, and it feels honestly like a child wrote this scene because it's overly explaining things in the most basic, dumbest ways. But then we get nothing from this multiverse crap either, which is like a throwaway completely because it's gone extremely quickly in this scene, even though at the ending of the last movie it was meant to be this huge reveal, like that Venom was going to be joining the bigger MCU universe, but then nothing really happens from it, and it's meant to be a whole joke about how the multiverse stuff sucks. Okay? For the next half an hour or so, we just like watch him save the cat by freeing up some locked up dogs, killing some gangsters, and then being hunted by the FBI or some government task force who are tracking down symbiotes, which then goes into this whole other spiel about Area 51 being decommissioned, except there's Area 55, which is studying these symbiotes, and it's them figuring out that there's going to be potentially more of them coming to Earth to get this cortex/key from Eddie and Venom that will eventually then free this new supervillain who's stuck somewhere else. And at this point, you start thinking, okay, this kind of makes sense, like it's setting up something interesting now, and wow, okay, so it looks like we'll hopefully see more than one type of Venom symbiote being released, which is awesome. But then we get these weird-ass scenes of Eddie taking over a horse, riding it, and then being attacked, going through some strange moral dilemmas after killing someone in self-defense that feel like a bit out of left field and are never touched upon again, to then meeting a wholesome family traveling out to Area 51 to see some aliens as a sort of one last farewell and selling all your life savings to accomplish your dream type of idea, which is just like, what am I watching here? I don't find things like the horse riding funny, but I guess if you enjoy that, sure, sure, it's okay. And I sort of find it interesting seeing Eddie Brock question his ethics after performing self-defense, but I don't get why it's brought up there in the first place, and then thrown away so easily soon after. And this is also me not being able to show you all of the freaking awkward dialogue exchanges that are happening throughout this whole part of the movie. It's just bafflingly weird and awkward, to say the least. What's also so weird is that one of my favorite parts about this movie is seeing Eddie Brock in the caravan hanging out with the genuinely wholesome family who go into this rendition of David Bowie's song Space Oddity, which I was kind of surprised by because I was partly expecting an edit to the next sequence, but the whole scene just holds on it for an extended period of time, and basically the whole song, which was kind of beautiful. It was like you're just hanging out with them for a little bit, and it was nice, and I definitely didn't expect it. But then it just like changes completely the next moment, and then we're in Vegas doing a weird ass dance sequence that sounds horrible and actually looks even worse, to then seeing a weird ass showdown in Area 55, and yada yada yada. The movie ends on Venom sacrificing himself, even though I don't know if it was necessary to do so because the creatures that were chasing him and Eddie were basically blind unless Venom fully took over him. So just don't do that and continue to live your life in a smaller capacity but still existing in some way, and just walk away. So who cares if they are still coming to Earth, because obviously they can't see you and they only really care about you when they can see you. But I guess Venom has to die, so we get this emotional montage sequence at the end, and that's it. That's the end. And if you thought this review is coming to a screeching halt that doesn't feel like you get any emotional or logical payoff, then that is exactly how this movie felt. I have no idea why Tom Hardy did these movies apart from the obvious monetary benefit, but maybe he too also had some higher hopes for it from a potential plot point of view. In either sense, I'm just glad everything is finally over, but man, at the same time, I wish I could have had my 6 hours of my life back. Weirdest film ever.
Eddie, I need more money.
But we don't have any more money, buddy.
Marge, I'm confused. Is this a happy ending or a sad ending?
It's an ending, that's enough.